Yo, what's up, plebs? We're here. We're doing it. Me, late night, hacker stream with Santos. Santos, how's your day?
Dude, it was awesome. Got to work on Bitcoin stuff.
Yeah, me too. It's been a long day, but I'm excited for this, man. We get to do this hacker stream where we talk about all the cool stuff that we're doing at TabConf this year. If you don't know what TabConf is, it's a developer conference happening in Atlanta. Do they still call it Hotlanta there, or is it just like Atlanta? Is it still Hotlanta? Is that still a thing? I need to ask Tidwell. But we're gonna be going to Atlanta doing a hackathon. ZBD's gonna show up with their crew and have this whole Lightning Village. It's gonna be amazing. 10,000, I was gonna say Bitcoin, 10,000 in fiat of prizes. So we're doing these kind of like these build up streams to the actual the day when we do the hackathon thing. You can hit pay and you can leave a comment so I can say hi and go like that. Check this out. Boom. So, all right.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited for this presentation. We can get into some of the tools that you can use to start building with ZBD, build Lightning Network apps quite easily. So go ahead and share my screen, and we'll take a look at the tooling from there.
Cool. Let's do it.
All right, so welcome everyone to the ZBD Dev 101 workshop. So ZBD, is a Lightning Network service provider. We have plug and play, fully functional Lightning Network support via a simple API. Some of the advantages of using the ZBD API include plug and play abilities. So you don't have to worry about spinning up any infrastructure, setting up any sort of panels, and then liquidity management. It's quite easy to integrate, and I'll walk through an integration example today. Stable, and we have lots of education and documentation. That's something the entire team is passionate about at ZBD, and hackathons especially. A lot of people that participate in hackathons and help organize them. So really great team. So to kind of start things off, we have a Python community SDK that I wrote. I use this in like a number of different integration examples, and when we get to the end of these slides, I'll walk through the GitHub. Go ahead and open it right now. I can tweet out this link or slide deck so people can get the links from it and publish it on Oscar, of course. So from there, we have an awesome ZBD supported Node.js SDK. Highly recommend using this if you're a JavaScript developer. It makes a plug-and-play solution that much easier. There's plenty of documentation, and we have the GitHub link readily available for you. So, yeah. So now kind of taking a look at the ZBD SDK and kind of what it looks like to use some of the basic functionality that's a part of the ZBD SDK. So you have a charge. You can use this to receive Bitcoin to your project wallet directly. So you can set up ZBD with an API key, and I'll show what that looks like. And then you can make these API calls. So really, you're just instantiating a ZBD object. Then from there, you can use some of the methods part of that object, and everything is in millisats. So you can see the amount here is 1337. You can pass in a description and a callback URL. So that way, if this charge is paid, then you can get a status update and know whether or not it's paid, if it failed, or it expired, as an example. So you may be asking yourself, like, what is a charge? And you can think of charge as the same thing as an invoice. It's a Bolt 11 invoice for those Lightning developers out there. We felt like this was an intuitive term to use, especially since we have a lot of non-Bitcoin developers that use our API to build. So pay. So this is actually paying a charge or paying a Bolt 11 invoice. So you can pay Bitcoin programmatically from your project wallet. From there, you can pass an invoice, a description, and an or charge is actually paid. Again, you can pass in a callback URL to know the status of your payment, whether it's in flight, whether it's paid, or whether it failed. So that way you can make a data it. You can even get back this internal ID on the callback, so then you know other information like metadata about paying this particular charge. So you could associate it with the user if you wanted to. That's just one example. You can also do LN URL. So this kind of covers like Bolt 11. Now getting into LN URL a bit. We have a withdrawal request. So this allows users to seamlessly move their funds off of the ZBD platform using one QR code. And you can see it's very standard. You have an amount again, you have a description, an internal ID, and a callback. Works the same way, so very standardized, easy to use. Here's one of my favorite endpoints. It's send payment to Lightning address. So you can send payments to a human readable identity over a global network with real-time settlement. So you can just pass in this thing that looks like an email. You can learn more about that at lightningaddress.com. You can pass a comment and you can send and pay the amount. So very easy to use and pretty widely adopted standard now. Yeah, so it's that easy to start firing Bitcoin payments. You can also send payments to our gamer tags, which is like the ZBD username from the ZBD app. You can send an amount. All of these are denominated in millisats. And then from there, you can pass in a description and their gamer tag or username. And there's key send. We do not. One other important thing about the gamer tag is there is no network fee. So that you don't have to worry about like a Lightning. You just pay the standard 1% or 1 sat fee for processing payments, but there's no network fee since it's a ZBD ecosystem transaction. We also have key send support. So if you want to send directly to Lightning Node PubKey, you definitely can. So you can utilize this endpoint. We provide also exchange rates, so we have some utility APIs. You can use zbd.getBTC USD exchange rate, and you'll get the price of Bitcoin. Now, we've kind of talked a lot about ZBD and kind of the API, but still a bit abstract. You might be wondering, well, like, how do I sign up? Like, what does the developer dashboard look like? And maybe we could plug the ZBD API into some code bases and use some of this stuff, right?
Yeah, Santos, we're wondering here. We're like, okay, we see what we could do. We see all this other stuff. Like, let's start playing with this stuff. How do we actually get access to this stuff? Like, tell us.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it.
Yeah, we got some people. We fixed the audio. This is our first time doing this, something like this, so we're learning on the fly. So the audio's fixed. Let us know if you see anything else. If you have any questions or you need Santos to go over something, or you want to ask me something, shoot us a zap, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, sounds good. Happy to cover this stuff again. Circle back to it. Any questions anyone has, just let me know. We'll pause before moving on. Here you can see our developer dashboard. So we have dashboard.zebedee.io. You can create an account, and then you can complete the remainder of the steps. You can also find our doc portal. So our documentation portal has all kinds of different guides available to you, along with more information about the Lightning Network, the ZBD API, and some walkthroughs. You can find our API reference. So if you are not interested in using the Community Python SDK or Node.js SDK, you can also find information about all of our endpoints, the payload, and code examples. So you can see it in Python. When I was out in El Salvador a few weeks ago teaching the students that were part of the university program out there, this was very helpful for them to kind of see some example implementations, and you can just plug your project API key in and start firing those off. But you might be wondering now, well, like, what's a project? So I already have a ZBD sort of account, so I'm gonna.
Yeah, I was gonna say something, Santos. So, like, can you just, while you're doing that, can you explain like how some Bitcoin companies and Bitcoin projects utilize the API. Besides, I mean, we use it here at Pleb Lab for a lot of the stuff that we do with like Lightning Door and stuff like that. But like, can you kind of describe that and how that process works and stuff?
Yeah, for sure. So we have a few different partners that utilize the ZBD API. So we have game developers that are building games and adding sats as rewards for playing their games and watching ads. We have the ZBD API integrated in the ZBD app. So we have ZBD Social, where people are like sending payments and zapping over, zapping over social, which uses the Nostr protocol. From there, we have Fountain that's utilizing our API to pay out podcasters to reward their listeners. So these are just some of the examples that I can name that people are using the ZBD API for. And then I personally use the ZBD API. I'm a software developer. That's one of my trades. And I built a e-learning platform called Emeralize that rewards people for learning, as well as gives creators a way to earn off of their courses and enabling them to accept Bitcoin payments. It also has like automatic withdrawals, payment splits, and all kinds of different cool features like that.
Cool. That's interesting.
Yeah, so here you can see I created this project within the developer dashboard, and I can grab my API key, and then from there we can head over to the documentation portal like we were looking at earlier. And now if we wanted to generate a charge, and don't worry, I will regenerate this API key, we can send an API request. And then you can see the response that you got back from the server. So we just, within just a couple seconds, created our first charge. So that's pretty cool functionality. We'll get into setting up the starter playground that Andre put together for us. And then from there, we'll go ahead and actually look at some code.
Wow, we just got 1,000 sats. That's awesome. Dude, that sound is so loud though. I need to figure out how to do the sound for it. Lower it. It's so piercing in my ears. Definitely. It's cool though.
Yeah, that does sound quite loud. Okay, so now I love this tool, Replit, by the way. It's really wonderful to collaborate and then get your project on some infrastructure. So you can do this on like a tablet. You can do it on your phone. You can do it on a Mac or regular laptop or desktop computer. But you can also write code on Chromebooks now as well, because it's all based in the browser.
Wow.
And it's all on their infrastructure.
Yeah.
So if you're learning yourself or you're teaching somewhere else, this is a really great tool to use because it abstracts away a lot of like software that you have to install. It already has an IDE. So this is a really, really wonderful tool that I highly recommend folks to use. So now we'll kind of skim through this because we know the steps. So we'll add a secret, an environmental variable called ZBD API key. So we already set up our project. We'll save our API key, and then we should be able to start running this. And you can see if you're like setting up this locally, that you have like a .env example file that you can use. All right, this might just take a second to load because I'm using the free plan. I got to stack as many sats as I can. I can't stand.
So does Replit have a free plan and a paid plan? And because don't they use some kind of like poo poo coin or something there? Like, what is the whole deal with Replit? Like, I don't use it, but
I don't think it's like a poo poo coin or anything. But it's like it is. I guess it is, and it isn't. It's not like on a blockchain or something. If that's what you're saying, I think it's like their own kind of token that they generated, kind of like you know how they have miles for airlines. I think it's kind of
they just
like
need to
that.
use they just need to use Bitcoin.
Cute. Yeah, they
Yeah.
definitely need to get Bitcoin. I think one of their founders is like very pro Bitcoin, so
Oh,
maybe one day we'll see that.
yeah. Drop the miles or whatever they're called.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's so dumb too.
Drop
Like,
the
okay, well, I'll stop ripping on them.
rewards program.
But it's cool though. You can do all this cool
Okay.
stuff with it. Um, so
Yeah, it's definitely very nice. It increases accessibility to write code. Like if you don't have a laptop, that was previously a barrier. If you don't, and now Chromebooks are like uh, pretty inexpensive. So if you were able to buy a Chromebook that can run on a browser or run a browser, now you can have access to writing code. They have lots of education and different things available for beginners. So I like Replit personally. So here's kind of like an example. So this project, and you can find it on Andre's blog
Use
here,
this to charge up your repeat
andrenevis.xyz.
cycles.
oh wait, what is that?
And
Is
then,
that what was that?
oh yeah, that's the text to speech feature. It should pop up on the screen, but I can't see it.
Yeah, I heard
So I don't
something.
know what
It
was
sounded
that.
like what's that guy's name? Alfred from Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need that's a
So
bug, I'm
here,
sure.
oh no, it's text to speech. It's a feature,
Oh,
not
it's
a
a
bug.
feature. Oh, okay. That's a good way to explain it.
Yeah, yeah. So like tips above 1,000 get played over text to speech. It's like a toggle setting in ZBD
uh,
Streamer.
oh, okay. Cool.
So here, I plugged in my API key, and now I'm over here in like the starter playground. So you can use this to actually create charges as an example, or a payment request QR code, and submit it. And then you'll get back the QR code and you'll see the response that you got back. So you can actually see the shape of the data, know what to expect. And you have this available for like withdrawal requests, lightning address, validating lightning addresses, getting the BTC USD. You can
Wow.
check to see if regions are supported. You can decode payment requests. So yeah, this is really great because you have all of this code that you can kind of reference now. So if you go into like components and you said, going kind of harping on this example of creating a charge, you can create a payment request and see how this is exactly working. So here, let's take a look. We're making a request to our own internal API, so API/charges. We're passing in the amount as value. So we hit submit. You can see whether or not it was failed or worked and the different responses there. So you can see one, like how to do it on the user interface level, like the component level. And then if you're interested in seeing like an API implementation, you can go here to pages API charges.js and you can see like how Andre constructed the API call. So if it's like a post request, you can actually see using the ZBD.create charge with this payload. Remember that this component is making an API call to our internal endpoint, and then our internal endpoint is making an API call to the ZBD API. So that's essentially what this is doing. If there's no errors, then we shoot a 200. If there's errors, we send, a good kind of restful response. And we also do the same thing for get. And if other methods are tried, then we just don't allow that method to work out. So here's like where we're getting the ZBD client. So that's being pulled in from like services./ZBD. So we can go here, we can take a look, and we can see, okay, we're getting our secret. We're populating the ZBD API key. This is where we get a new client instance. And then from there, this is how it actually passes the get ZBD API back to this internal endpoint, which then makes the API call to the ZBD API. So it's pretty, great code base to start with. If you're
Yeah.
just kind of tinkering with Lightning and you want to understand how is this all working? How can I build this web application? How could I take this and make this into, even a mobile app? So it gives you a lot of really good reference
Yeah.
code.
I was just gonna say it's like almost perfect for a hackathon. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know. It's like man, if somebody was doing a hackathon, like why wouldn't you use this? It would get there a lot faster, and who knows? Maybe you could win couple grand for a week in Atlanta. Not bad. I don't know. What do you think, Santos?
And have a blast. Yeah, I think you'd have a blast doing it too the whole time, and get to hang out with some cool people.
Yeah, you get to hang out with some cool people, hang out with all the other Atlanteans, I guess is that what they're called? Atlanteans. Check out ATL Bit Lab, listen to all the talks. There's gonna be so many talks there. So many talks. I think even Fiat Joff is doing a talk, right? Is that true?
Yeah, yeah, I believe that's the rumor floating around right
That's the,
now.
that's the rumor
Via
floating
Shop
around.
Andre kind of chat, so
That's gonna be
it's gonna be
cool.
sick.
It's gonna be I'm sure, very good. And then, yeah, come build in Atlanta. Hang out with a bunch of plebs and devs, and like find your kind of journey into the space, and then, you know, sign up for the hackathon. And then before you know it, you're walking out of Atlanta ahead, right? You have this new experience. You're building on Lightning, Noster, all these cool technologies that are adjacent to it, like all this other stuff. And then, yeah, who knows? Maybe you win the hackathon.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I think there's actually, I don't even think you need to leave your house to sign up for the hackathon, right? I think there's
Yeah.
like a website or something.
Yeah. What's the website? Can you show that website again? Just real
Yeah,
quick.
if I remember it correctly, it's tabconf.zbd.gg.
But
Playground kind of topic. Let's look at some other examples of ZBD tools so we can kind of circle back to that topic. So we have Replit, starter kit code. We have it available on GitHub for like Next.js template code base that already has the ZBD API set up, or the Node.js SDK already set up. The same is true for Python using the Django web framework. That's one that I like to use whenever I'm writing Python web applications, and I want a lot of things set up outside the box, like auth, registering users, logging in users, form protection, approved deny list based on IPs. So then, random people can't hit your server, trying to make API requests, and forgot password. All that stuff comes out the box, and it's also easy to build the API with some of the packages on top of Django. So that's a good one if you're a Python developer. And then one that I, fell in love with recently, Andre put me onto this, is Next.js. So I've been having a lot of fun rebuilding some of the code bases that I wrote using the Django web framework into Next.js now. And I have a cool example to show for that, and some good links. From there, why don't we just kind of look through the GitHub? So we were talking about these different code bases, and I think it would be helpful to go through that. What do you think, Car?
yeah, let's do it. It should be fun.
Cool. So let's see. Heading over to GitHub. This is my username, Zentoshi. So you can find me there. You can see for the pinned projects, I have this Bitcoin Lightning app Next.js, and then Bitcoin Lightning app Pi. So just like the name suggests, this is kind of the template that I was mentioning earlier. We have different code bases available. So we have pay to Lightning address Pi. So this is an application that shows like a basic integration, entering an amount, like a comment, and a Lightning address to pay it using the ZBD API. We have payment splitting. So the way that this works is you can enter a couple Lightning addresses. It'll generate a charge or payment request. You pay it. And then from there, once the charge has been paid, it automatically pays out those two Lightning addresses that you entered. So it's kind of a code walkthrough of like how to execute multiple Lightning payouts based on like something being paid. We have payouts.py that's showing like dynamic amounts of Lightning addresses. So you could enter as many as you wish, at least two, and then pay out multiple Lightning addresses for, amounts specified to each one. So this shows how like you could set up payment splitting with Lightning address. It's really like these are just kind of like starter templates, and your imagination is the limit to which you can take this. So it's just kind of helping you get started doing some of the basic flows, like what I like to call the Lightning primitives and user experience flows, and have already like an implementation to start with, build some really cool stuff within like a 2 or 3 day time frame. This is a code base for static charges because static charges work a little bit differently than regular charges. So I like to show that example and
Somebody
how you
likes
might be able
your
to use
code
it.
base here. You just got zapped.
Thank you. Thank you for the sats. I appreciate it. We'll put them to good use. We'll put them to good use for sure. So with this, like the static charges shows that implementation, like full CRUD operation. So you can create, you can read, you can update, delete, you can see callbacks, you can see the shapes of the responses, so the payloads for each one of those as well. So yeah, this is a great code base. And then recently I worked on this paywall using Next.js to give a Next.js kind of code base walkthrough. So you can see here we have the ZBD service, like we showed on the other application. We have the app. So this is where most of our app lives. We have the API for charges. So you can see, well, what does a post request look like for Next.js 13? And you can see the shape. So like we make a call to the ZBD API using the ZBD Node SDK, and we get back a charge, and then we return it to our app.
Oh, okay.
From there, we have a GET request. So we also do the same thing. We make a request to get the charge status, and then we return the response. So that's kind of how the API works. So now getting to the actual code, and I'll do a code walkthrough here in just 1 second too. I just want to kind of give the code background, and then we'll show the app from there.
I should also mention too that this will also be we're recording it right now. So if you missed this stream, it'll be on YouTube. So you can just search for it, Hacker Stream, and it'll show up. And then we'll figure out a way to put it on the website at some point. And yeah, just wanted to, if we're going too fast or anything like that, or you have questions, don't worry, it's going to be recorded and we'll have it. So
absolutely. And all these code bases are open source too, so you can check them out anytime you wish. So trying to make as many things as I can for people to build Lightning apps faster and more easily.
Got a question right there, Santos. It says, can Python code base be used with Flask or only Django?
The community Python SDK can be used with Flask 100%. It's just a Python package that I wrote. It definitely has some improvements that can be made, so I'll just preface with that. But yeah, you're more than welcome to see the examples that I implemented in Django using the community Python SDK that I built. And then I'm sure I've written applications in Flask before, and most of the code is pretty transferable, minus like the ORM stuff, which fortunately I don't do any database stuff except with the static charges. So for the most part, it'll be very transferable from Django to Flask.
Okay. Great question. Keep them coming. Keep the questions coming. Yeah.
So for this code, this is like the index page. It's like the home, as you can see, as the name suggests. From there, we're just like creating a link. It's very simple, no fancy markup, no styling, really, just some light tailwind. It's very light, believe me. So then you just click buy. So you're taken to the buy page, and then you can see the page. From there, we're making a request to our internal API, and we pass in a callback URL. When we get the response, we create the data, and then we pass in the charge data to the QR code component, and then we pass it to the billing component so we can know when the charge has actually been paid. So we're checking the ZBD API as we kind of saw the get charge endpoint earlier. You could, if you have a database, store the stats in your database, pull your database instead of the ZBD API, and then when you get the callback that it's been paid, then you update your database. So that's like a little bit more of like an efficient way to write it. But we don't want to build a code base as a database dependency when we're just trying to get the POC out. So like here's like the polling component. All we're doing is making an API request to our charges code base with the ID. We're getting the response, and then we're checking to see if it's been paid. So if it has been paid, so if the status is completed, we're going to push them to the blog. So it's kind of like a paywall for a microblogging sort of platform. So yeah, so that covers like most of the code from there. The blog is also very, very simple, you know, it's very simple page, just has blog content basically written in it. So then you can, use your imagination and build something cooler, maybe different use case for a paywall. The last thing that I wanted to share is this callback route. So from there, you can see I'm handling the callback from ZBD. So when I get a request, I'm getting a request here from Next.js. I'm getting an object from it, and then I just tell the web server that I received it. But really, like if you wanted to do something here, you could check, hey, has this been completed? Maybe you want to get the amount that was paid from the charge. Maybe you want to pay a lightning address. Maybe you pass the lightning address in the internal ID, so you can automatically execute a payout. As soon as you receive the money, you pay someone else, so you can split it. So maybe you're enabling content creators to earn. Maybe you
Yeah,
want 5%. You can get the 5%, pay out 95% back to the creator. So this is kind of how
that's kind of
you can
cool.
be examining that.
So they can do that all within this you call it a callback? Is that what this is?
Yeah, and that's yeah,
Or is it?
you can get pretty clever with what you store in the internal ID, whether that be a lightning address or another object. You can basically get this data back, and I'll show you what the data actually looks like here in a second.
Okay.
I'll walk through this code base and show the code basically in action. All right, so let's take a look. So here I have this, ngrok URL. So I'm exposing like my web server so I can get back callbacks, because if I'm running it on my local environment, I'm not going to be able to get that callback. So I expose, my local host to the internet. So as I mentioned before, very simple page, right? Just a few different words here. You can click buy, which is the link as we saw in the home page.
Oh, that's
From
dope.
there, I'm generating the QR code. You see that it's kind of loading the status. We see the status is pending. You can
Hmm.
click to open this in your wallet. I'm going to pay with my ZBD app on my phone. Then I'm going to scan this QR code for the charge. I'm going to hit confirm and pay. So then the charge is paid. You can see it's completed, and it executed the redirect. Sorry, I had a
What was that?
sparkling water.
Oh, your sparkling
I have
water.
like a sparkling water cat thing. Yeah,
That's cool.
I dropped my phone on that.
So
So sorry if
basically,
that
what
hurt
you're
you.
describing there, that flow would be at the end of this, you would see the blog content show up after the payments mid-aid, right? Pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. And then let me show you the version that's on my computer, because I've made, some updates to it. So here is the callback that we got when that was paid. So you can see the status has been completed. You can see the invoice request. You can see whether or not there was an internal ID. I didn't pass one in here for this exact use case, but maybe we modify this a little bit. You want to hack on this a little bit, Car?
Sure, let's do it. We got a lot of time.
Yeah, let's just do a little hacking. So let's see. So maybe we, have this data, we log the callback, and then let's see, where is the charge? So it's under buy, so you can see, okay, there's no internal ID. So we're going to just add a property like internal ID, and then let's add my lightning address. Or Car, what's your lightning address?
I use Stacker News, so I have. I think I just have car at stacker.news.
All right, cool. So let's just get that back. And from there, when we get the charge payment next time, we'll see in the internal ID property here, the lightning address, so your lightning address. So then let's see, let's get back the ZBD object. I'm just gonna use some code that I've already written. So we'll get ZBD, and then from there we'll get ZBD dot send Let me find my own document, or let me find the thing, my slide here. I think it's send Ellen address payment. Send Ellen address payment. Then for the amount, let's just do, let's see here. I'm going to check the GitHub really quick, make sure I'm doing this right. And I should share my screen too while we look at this GitHub. This is all part of the development flow, right? When you're hacking, you
Exactly.
got to look stuff up, got to check stuff out. So here's like the SDK. So let's see some documentation. Here we go.
Oh, right there.
We'll get the, yeah, we'll get that. We'll send Lightning address payment. We can pass in the amount here. And that'll be in milli Satoshis, and we'll add the Lightning address. Then we'll just kind of complete the payment from there.
Okay.
So let's see. I gotta also add some sats into my project wallet real quick. So let me transfer in some sats so we can make some payments. Car, how's your night going, dude?
It's going pretty good. It's been a interesting day. We had our open house day today at the Pleb Lab, so it was cool. Then everybody was here today, so we're all kind of just like joking around, talking about, just Bitcoin stuff that that goes on that we see. So yeah, and right now I think Super Testnet's in the back. He's like updating Magic Web Store, and I think Nick's still here too. So yeah, it's been going good. It's been a really very constructive day. Yeah,
that sounds nice.
Tomorrow will be a lot more. I noticed Wednesdays at the lab is just very like carefree. Mondays and Tuesdays just like everybody's heads down, like working really hard.
Build.
Yeah.
It's on build mode, huh?
Yeah, everybody's in build mode. And then like Fridays are like the fun days here because it's like Friday. Everybody's like, oh, what are you doing tonight? What's going on? So speaking of fun, TabConf is coming up. If you haven't got your ticket, it's probably is it the least expensive developer conference out there? Probably in Bitcoin, I would imagine, right? I think tickets are only like $100 or $200, something like that. Very inexpensive.
Yeah.
And Atlanta itself is very like just a very inexpensive town in general. So if you're thinking about looking to do what I don't know, if you're in September and you're like looking around, you're like, what should I go to? Come to TabConf. It's gonna be a lot of fun. You'll be able to build, meet a lot of cool, interesting people. Ask some really like hard hitting questions when it comes to like developer stuff, and meet all the people that are like building the future. So, yeah. So I don't see.
Pretty sweet.
It sounds pretty sweet to me. Do you have anything that you can share on your screen? Because it just looks like we're in a in the. Okay, there you go. Cool. Okay, sorry. But yeah,
all good.
I was just trying to say is like, yeah, if you're out there listening, you're watching the stream, and you're wondering like, hey, I love what they're doing. This looks really complex. It's not complex. It's easy. You just slap it together, and before you know it, Santos. I've seen Santos at the SatsBuy hackathon that we did, where you were able to kind of walk people through building an app, right? That actually won. I think there was one that actually won the last time we did a hackathon, and you kind of helped them walk through that whole process. So if you're somewhat interested, looking to hack, and you're not entirely sure, like, oh, can I do it? I would say come, show up, get registered, and Santos will be there. There'll be a lot of other mentors there that can kind of walk you through how to build something, especially if you have an idea. It's worth the trip. So,
definitely. Couldn't agree more. I've always found hackathons in particular just to be like so rewarding because you just grow so much in such a short period of time.
Yeah,
there's really nothing quite like it. You also like kind of form this whole new community at the same time,
exactly.
which is just
That's what's great about
magical.
it. It's because it's going to be real world. So you'll meet the people that you're working alongside with building, and then before you know it, the next time you come for the hackathon, you'll be a much further along as a builder and a creator and a developer. And I would say if you're somebody that doesn't have these technical skills, you can still go. Let's say you're really good at Figma. Well, guess what? A lot of these projects need a front end, so you can contribute that way. So that's what's great about these like hackathons. Yeah, I think it's going to be a blast. I think it's going to be an absolute blast. I can't wait to see what people are building there. So
Yeah, I completely agree, honestly. That's the cool thing about hackathons is like I think you could I love the point that you make about doing some design in Figma because it's a lot easier. I've done a lot of product design work. It's a lot easier to make edits in Figma than it is to your code and discover, maybe I ran into a user experience problem or something I didn't think about when you're building it. It's a lot harder to pivot doing that versus like kind of constructing your initial user experience flows and designs, which we'll be doing. I think we'll be covering some of that stuff and, uh, uh, subsequent hacker stream too. So that's we can show some examples of that in the future, but save yourself some heartache, some time just by like diagramming out some low fidelity wireframes,
yeah,
constructing a user experience, find some potential issues within your application, some assumptions that you made, fix them in the design before you have to fix them in your code.
I
I
would al-
guarantee it's going to take longer to fix it in your code.
I would also add too. The Bitcoin design team I think is going to be there, and there's somebody who's working on a super secret project, which I won't spoil. So you'll want to be there for that. It's going to be really cool. I think I haven't told you yet, Santos, but they're working on something really cool from the Bitcoin design side. So if you're coming to TapConf, that's something you're going to be able to participate also in. Because it's not just the Lightning Village where this hackathon is going to be going on. There's other villages. There's like the Base 58 village where it's going to be all this cool learning and protocol building. And then what's the other village? The Next Gen village, right? What is that one again, Santos? Do you remember that one? There's just too many villages.
Uh, Too many villages.
But they're
Yeah, I'm
all
concerned about one village right now.
I know the Lightning Village, but there's so many different villages that you're going to be able to pick where you want to go. There's 4 days of building, and there's all these people that are going to be there, yeah, it's going to be phenomenal. So if you're thinking about going and you're going to be in the area, I would say just drive there, and have a good time. The tickets are still out there. I think they're like 99, 150, $200, or really inexpensive. So yeah.
Sick. Cool. I think we have some code that we can put together here and give
Yeah.
it a shot. Yeah. So I think we can try and run this and see what happens. Might get an error the first time. We'll see. So let me switch my screen. Let's try and run this application.
Cool. Yeah, so there's the BitDevs Socratic Village, the Lightning Village, the Base 58 Protocol Village, and the Next Gen Village. They all have their schedules on there, so just go to tabconf.com or 2023.tabconf.com. So if you're interested, yeah, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Definitely. I always learn so much and make so many new friends at TapConf.
Yeah,
Just have such a
the
blast.
parties too at night, dude. They go pretty late.
Yeah, one thing that was forgotten on that hackathon one was the fun. Yeah, we're definitely going to have a lot of fun in the evening.
Yeah, I heard like at BitLab there was a couple cool parties that happened there too. So yeah, if just go, like it's a no brainer, and then sign up for the hackathon now so you have a spot there. You're registered. You don't have to, wait in line and just do it. That's all I'm saying. Just do it. Get it done early. It makes the most sense. But yeah, it's gonna be a blast.
Definitely.
Did you see my background? I have Mario.
Oh yeah, that was the project. Sorry, I kind of got distracted earlier looking
There's
at this
you.
code. Yeah, super sats, bro. I think
Yeah.
B++
Yeah.
did that project with the
It
ZBD API.
won. It won too. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it was cool. Everyone was excited about it.
Dude, it was so much fun.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
So let's go ahead and take a look. So we did get a call back, though we're still working on the send lightning address payment piece. So I just have to construct this. So I'll hop back into the code and we can take a look. Oh, you know what? Better yet, why don't we look at some reference documentation? Something I
Okay.
always like to do. So let's see. Share screen. Let me pull up this window. There we go. So now heading back to the old GitHub, or actually we can just look at, let's see, the playground. We can see an example of how to send that payment to the Lightning address.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go ahead and get an object with the amount, comment, and the LN address with the internal ID. Oh, okay. I see the error that I made. So the minimum payment amount for a Lightning address is 10. So I was trying to pay 1. So I see
Oh.
kind of the conundrum here. All right. So I fixed the code. So we have the amount, which is in millisats. So we have 10,000 millisats. We have the data internal ID, which we're passing in from creating the charge on the buy page here. So we're putting in your internal ID. And when we get the callback, we're going to get ZBD. So we're going to go over to our services.zebedee. We're going to get ZBD, the object instance that we created. From there, we're going to set the amount. We're going to get the Lightning address.
Mm-hmm.
Then if the status is completed, and the this is actually your Lightning address, not my Lightning address. So we got to put your Lightning address here. Normally you could pass in an object, but I don't want to spend too much time like creating an object and then doing JSON stringify and then like decoding the JSON string and then sending it for instructional purpose. That's something that you can hack on for sure. Something that you can do to know, like, to pass these Lightning addresses dynamically and to pay out dynamically based on the amount. So let's go ahead and try and run this again and see what we get back with the code. So
Yeah, I'm interested to see. Interested to see how this kind of plays out here. We're doing it live, folks. We're doing it live.
That's how we do it. Do a code walkthrough. What would be a hacker stream without some hacking?
That's true. So it came back there at the bottom. I see, right? Payment done. Is that the message?
So that's how easy it can be. We sent a Lightning address payment. Car, will you check your wallet?
Yeah, let me go. Let me go to my.
Marinos?
Yeah, let me go to my PWA stacker thing here. Yeah, right here, just right there. It says it. I don't know if you can see that, but it says deposited. Can you see that on Stacker News?
That's nice.
Gosh, Lightning's incredible. Lightning's incredible, Santos. Why is PayPal doing their own CBDC? It makes no sense. I don't know if you saw that news today. It was crazy. I was just like, what are they doing? Like, Lightning's incredible, man. This is awesome.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you personally, but I just sent you, fractions of a cent across a
just like
open
that.
network. Like that.
That's cool.
So I don't think you can do that something like that with the CBDC.
No, they can actually take it away. I think they made sure that was the first thing they could do.
Yeah, that was the POC.
Right.
We have this number in a database. Can we take that away from you?
Yeah.
But
Gosh.
yeah, so this was kind of like a live walkthrough. Some things that I would do like from here if I was like hacking on it. I like taking a very iterative approach. I just like getting something working at the most bare bones and basic level. Once I have it working, then I'll refine it. I'll make it prettier. So what I could do is I could add a new folder with a new route
Hmm.
to then use an internal API to process this payment directly to ZBD. So then I don't have to, get the ZBD object that I created. I don't have to handle all the payment information in this particular route. I could just make a post request to my API, which would be like, something like this, where it's like lightning address. I would have a little route just like this,
Mm.
and I would have a post request. And instead of creating a charge, I'm just going to pass in only the necessary information, which would be amount and lightning address. I'm going to do this call, this method call instead, and then I'm going to process the payment. So then I'll return a response with the result, and then I can handle it in a component. So that's what I would do if I wanted to continue like iterating on this and making it better. And I pointed out some other examples too, like using a database instead of polling, the ZBD API endpoint, relying upon the callback instead. Those are all cool things that you could do to like continue to improve your application. And then obviously styling. You could add like a nice nav bar, sleek. Oh, good point, Car. Thinking about the hackathon at Tab, if you're a designer, you can come up with the brand colors. You can give the
Yeah.
look feel of the brand, the logo, the color scheme, all of that good stuff. You could create a
Yeah.
whole brand guideline.
That's like my favorite thing to do is figure out all the colors and all that kind of stuff. And if you're artistic in any sort of field, whether it's like music, just like pencil drawing, I don't know, whatever it is, just come. You'll find somebody there, you'll vibe with them, and then before you know it, you'll get to building. And guess what, too, Santos? There'll be mentors there along with yourself, and we'll be able to group you up into teams. I've actually seen people at hackathons that we've done in the past where people will come there with different skill sets, and before you know it, it's a team of 7, and everybody has this little job that they're doing. So everybody splits the pot. This is what's amazing about building on Bitcoiners or building with Bitcoiners on Bitcoin is like everybody's really cool to get, and easy to get along with. It's just it's an amazing thing to see. So yeah.
So exciting. It's going to be awesome. People are going to build some really sick stuff. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
And this is just one of the categories too, right? This is
Yeah,
just lightning. We have Nostr.
show us the categories again.
Yeah, let's bring that back up. Let's go
Yeah.
take a look.
Yeah, because this is one thing I think what we're doing a little bit like I think.
I thought I was sharing my whole browser here.
No, you're fine.
I was not. So here on GitHub, here's the client that I built, with Nostr tools, and it's very basic. I know people have built some really sophisticated apps. ZBD app included has a social feature built on top of Nostr, but here we're using, for example, Nostr tools to create events. And then actually we have this utils here. This is where we built it. I guess I could call this a service too at this point, but connecting to relays, publishing events. So I also have some code bases for Nostr if you're interested in hacking on those. Here's like where I'm creating the forms and kind of constructing some basic events. And then I have some like pretty good documentation. It's not the best, could be better in terms of like the event structures. And I have a work in progress improvement to the specification too that I'm making to make it even simpler, as well as like the goal that I'm trying to solve, my vision, and that all uses NBD's Nostr tools. So kind of going back to NBD, what I thought I was showing earlier, we have this open source initiative. You can check it out at nbd.wtf. You can see Nostr, came out of NBD.
What's Poncho?
You can see.
That's a cool name. it just popped out. Did you see that?
Oh yeah. That's related to hosted channels. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
another cool thing that Fiat Joff worked on. So yeah, from here you can see like tons of documentation available. It's easy to install. You can see how to get a private key, public key, how to create, sign, and verify events, interacting with relays. Like if you're a hacker, this is where you want to be. And this is all on the nbd-wtf github.com/Noster Tools repo. So definitely recommend checking this out. Another great one to check out is NDK. I haven't personally wrote anything in NDK. Where is it? NDK kit. Yeah, NDK kit. ndkit.com. You can check this out, and you can see like it's written in Rust, I guess, and I don't know Rust, so I can't write applications in Rust. I'm not one of the cool kids, but maybe you are. Maybe you'll find this useful. You got some tutorials, and yeah, you can kind of get started with it.
Cool.
And I've heard really good things about this building like super performant Noster apps.
Nice. It's good to see all the ecosystem pouring some time and attention to this. It's great. Love to see it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think, with all these tools, the conclusion is the hackathon's going to be super lit. We're going to have some great projects to be shipped and built.
Show that website one more time. So if you haven't been listening for the past hour and 15 minutes, just want to talk about this amazing place called Atlanta. It's where.
Yeah, let's put this slide deck to rest. So we were going back and forth, looking at the docs. We were writing code. We were hacking. We were analyzing. We were doing all this cool stuff. We walked through that Next.js paywall example. We drilled into it. We know how it works. We added some code to it. If you want to set up, ZBD account, start getting familiar with it before the hackathon, become really prepared, which is our goal with these hacker streams, is setting you up for success, because that's how ZBD and PlebLab do. We want to take care of our own. You can set up a developer dashboard account by going to dashboard.zbd.io, sign up, create and fund your project wallets, and then get started with our doc portal. From there, you can build with ZBD. And
if you're listening on the podcast, we'll put this as a podcast. So say that again. TabConf. What was it?